You remember that shy, soulful dude with the pink polo and backpack, right? That underdog who stormed into the game without a street rep or a grill, but with bars for days and a soul sample addiction. Yeah, Kanye West. Back in 2004, there was the hip-hop nerd turned superstar, the guy who made it cool to rap about insecurities, college, and Jesus all in one breath. The College Dropout wasn't just an album, it was a movement. It felt like a revolution from a guy who refused to stay in the producer's shadow. But then, something shifted. Somewhere between Taylor Swift's microphone and Donald Trump's. Red Hat, Kanye stopped being just a music icon and started becoming the moment again and again. What began as a journey of a genius pushing creative boundaries turned into a never-ending loop of wild rants, public meltdowns, and social media chaos that made even his fans go, "Bro, you good?" Let's rewind a bit. Before the freakout, there was brilliance. No one could touch him. Late registration was lush and orchestral. Graduation had stadium dreams. And then 808s and Heartbreak dropped heart-wrenching, robotic, and totally ahead of its time. People hated it at first, and then built entire careers off copying it. Looking at you, Drake, Kanye wasn't just changing hip-hop, he was breaking it open and rebuilding it in his image. Every album was a cultural event. Every move felt calculated. Every beat, a statement. He was the Picasso of rap. If Picasso wore Yeezys and dropped bars like, "No one man should have all that power." But then they started believing that line a little too hard. From interrupting award shows to running for president, Ye's reality started warping. And instead of the humble, self-aware genius from Chicago, we got something else. A whirlwind of controversy. A man obsessed with legacy, control, and proving the whole damn world wrong. The Rons weren't just on stage anymore. They were everywhere. Twitter, TMZ, Drink Champs. Wherever he had a mic, the would say something. And not always something we wanted to hear. And that's where the freakout began to overshadow the dropout. We saw a man unravel in real time. One moment he's dropping The Life of Pablo and changing the album post-release like it's a Google Doc. The next, he's hospitalized, screaming about Jay-Z sending killers after him. It was genius colliding with madness, innovation tangled with instability. Now we're in the era of post-Kanye. The who legally changed his name. The one who married Bianca Censori in a secret ceremony. The who made headlines for walking barefoot in Italy, spouting anti-Semitic rants and daring the world to cancel him harder. But here's the messed up part. It still kind of works. People still listen, still wear the merch, still call him a genius. Because deep down, we can't look away from the train wreck when the wreck is wearing Balenciaga and producing certified bangers. Kanye West went from backpack rapper to global freakout artist. And maybe that's the price of chasing greatness without boundaries. Maybe when you strip away the filters, the team, the publicists, what you're left with is raw, unfiltered, and sometimes just too much. So what do you think? Is Kanye still the visionary he once was, or just the loudest guy in the room? Comment, drop out if you missed the old, or freak out if you think he's too far gone. And don't forget, this is just the beginning. We've got 14 more chapters to unpack in this chaotic masterpiece called Kanye West. So comment and subscribe if you've ever screamed, "I miss the old Kanye," while still bumping Runaway in your car. Because, yeah, it really sucks to be born as Kanye West. Genius, chaos, and the never-ending price of provocation. All right, let's talk about that marriage. You know, the one no vows on TMZ, no ring shopping at Cartier, just Kanye West randomly popping. Up married to a woman named Bianca Censori, and the whole internet collectively going, "Wait, who?" One day he's melting down on Twitter. The next he's walking barefoot in Rome with a mystery woman wearing sheer spandex from head to toe. Welcome to the Bianca era, aka the plot twist no one saw coming. Now, let's get something straight. Bianca Censori isn't just some random girl plucked from an influencer lineup. She's an architectural designer at Yeezy, meaning she wasn't just in Ye's orbit, she was literally helping build his empire from the inside. Then boom, suddenly she's Mrs. West, without the legal docs to prove it, walking beside him in matching fashion experiments that make even high-end runway models go, "Girl, are you okay? Let's paint the picture here." It's mid-2023. Kanye's canceled, again, his Adidas deal, torched. His reputation, in ashes, he's been banned from platforms, blacklisted by brands, and practically exiled from the A-list dinner table. And then enter Bianca. She's young, mysterious, gorgeous, in a cyberpunk meets Kim kind of way, and always styled in whatever dystopian fashion fever dream Kanye's into that week. Nude bodysuits, futuristic, capes, translucent heels, you name it. And while people argued over whether it was fashion-forward or fashion-hostage, one thing was certain. Bianca was now part of the narrative. But here's where it gets weird. For a man so addicted to spectacle, Kanye suddenly went silent. No wedding photos. Announcement. No music drop to go with it. Just paparazzi pics of them parading through Italy like avant-garde ghosts, giving cryptic interviews, if any, and raising more questions than answers. And bro, let's be real. Something about it just felt off. Is this real love? A rebound? A performance? Art piece wrapped in Balenciaga and confusion? Is Bianca the muse for a comeback, or just another name in Kanye's long list of headline bait? Because let's not forget, that doesn't just date. He curates relationships. From Amber Rose to Kim Kardashian, each partner is a symbol, a project, a chapter. And Bianca? She might just be the reboot. And yet, the internet can't stop watching. TikTok's analyzing her body language. YouTube videos breaking down her outfits. Reddit threads asking if she's being controlled. Every time she appears in public wearing something that looks more like performance, art than clothing, people ask, is she okay? And maybe that's the point. With Kanye, nothing is accidental. Every move is part of a bigger puzzle we're not allowed to solve yet. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this a comeback or a carefully crafted collapse? Some say she saved him. That Bianca gave the stability during the most chaotic stretch of his life. Others say she's a prop placed perfectly to generate the kind of attention that craves more than Grammys. Either way, she's now fused to the brand whether she likes it or not. And the craziest part? We might never know the truth, because in Kanye's world, love, art, chaos, and clout are all swirled together in one big, unpredictable performance. So tell me, do you think Bianca Censori is the new Kim K, or just the next beautiful casualty of Kanye's genius madness spiral? Type wifey if you think this is real love, or PR stunt if you think it's all smoke and mirrors. And if you're enjoying this Kanye deep dive, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we're only getting started. From marriages to meltdowns, this saga's got more twists than a Christopher Nolan movie, because yeah, it sucks to be born. As Kanye West, especially when your love life looks like a dystopian Netflix series. Alright, sit down, strap in, and get ready for the financial faceplant of the decade, cause this ain't just a story about sneakers. This is about how Kanye West built a billion-dollar fashion empire with a pair of ugly, spaceship-looking shoes, only to watch the whole damn thing crash harder than a Tesla on autopilot. Welcome to the rise and spectacular collapse of Yeezy, or as we like to call it, from Yeezys to Yikes. Let's rewind the tape real quick. Back in the early 2010s, there wasn't just killing the music game, he wanted fashion. No, scratch that, he wanted domination. This man didn't want to be in the fashion world. He wanted to own it. After bouncing from Nike to Adidas, complaining that the suits wouldn't give him creative control, he finally got his golden ticket. Adidas gave him a fat check, full artistic freedom, and enough rope to build a brand or hang himself. Guess which one happened first. Now give credit where credit's due, the Yeezy Boost 350s, ugly as hell, but somehow everyone wanted them. You had sneakerheads, hypebeasts, and even soccer moms lining up for kicks that looked like alien Crocs. Kanye turned his brand into a cultural religion. Yeezys weren't shoes, they were status. And he wasn't just a rapper, he was a mogul, a visionary. The Black Steve Jobs, in his own words. Yeah, he said that. By 2020, Forbes was out here calling him a billionaire. Not almost billionaire, not close. Full on billionaire. Thanks mostly to the Yeezy-Adidas partnership, which reportedly made him over $1.5 billion a year. The man had created a sneaker empire that rivaled Jordan Brand. I mean, damn. Jordan had to play 15 years of basketball. Kanye just had to piss off Nike and run his mouth in interviews, but then came the yikes. In late 2022, the went on a Twitter rampage. Sorry, X-rampage. He posted anti-Semitic remarks, wore a White Lives Matter shirt at Paris Fashion Week, and doubled down in interviews, and Adidas, well, they played the waiting game. until the backlash hit nuclear level. Then they dropped him like a mixtape no one asked for. One day, one tweet, boom, gone. In a single statement, Adidas terminated the partnership. Just like that, Kanye went from a billionaire to, reportedly, under $400 million net worth. You hear that? That's the sound of wealth evaporating like Yeezys on resale after a scandal. But here's where it gets spicy. Adidas didn't just cut him off. They still had $1.3 billion worth of Yeezy inventory, and they couldn't sell it without his name. So now what? Burn it? Donate it? Rebrand it as Feetsies? Nope, they kept selling them with or without his name, and they still got a cut. Yeah, you heard right. They canceled him, but they're still cutting him a check. So much for principles, huh? And he wasn't done. He went on podcasts, he went on InfoWars. Yes, the Alex Jones circus. He sat there with a black hood over his head, praising, you guessed it, Hitler. Bro was spiraling so hard, even his biggest fans had to look around like, yo, are we still ridden with this dude? Fashion brands ghosted him. Balenciaga said bye. Gap, who had just launched the Yeezy Gap line, said, nah, we good. His bank, JP Morgan, Chase, literally closed his accounts. Who even knew banks could do that? But somehow, this man is still standing. And here's the wildest part. In 2023, Adidas announced they'd restart Yeezy sales, not because they forgave but because they couldn't afford not to. They'd pledge part of the profits to anti-hate groups. Sounds nice, right? But it also sounds like, hey, we know this is problematic, but y'all gonna buy these shoes anyway, and they were right. People still lined up, still bought them, still flexed them, because apparently forgiveness is just a fresh colorway away. Now, here's the real kicker. Even after all that, Kanye's still out here saying he's uncancellable. And low-key, he might be right. Every time you think he's done, he pops up again. New album, new wife, new meltdown. So what's the takeaway here? Genius ain't bulletproof, it's just messy. Kanye created a fashion empire with his name on it, only to watch it explode because he couldn't stop being. Well, Kanye, the man who once said, I am Warhol, I am Shakespeare, I am Walt Disney, also managed to talk his way out of a multi-billion-dollar deal. That's not just self-sabotage, that's art. So if you ever dreamed of building an empire with your name on the label, take a lesson from it only takes one headline to turn Yeezys into yikes. If you rocked a pair of Yeezys or ever got caught up in the hype, drop A in the comments. And if you think Kanye went too far or not far enough, hit that like button and tell us why. Is he a misunderstood genius or a walking PR disaster? Don't forget to subscribe, because next time we're diving even deeper into the chaos. This was only topic 3, fam, and we're just getting started. So tell me, what do you get when you cross one of the most controversial rappers in history with an Instagram model turned architect turned fashion mystery who walks around half naked in public while the internet collectively loses its damn mind? You get Kanye West's newest headline addiction, Bianca Censori? And this ain't just a celebrity marriage. This is a whole media experiment, a full-blown performance art piece, a circus where the ringmaster is Kanye himself and the main act, his almost silent, barely dressed wife, who may or may not be in on the joke. Let's back up a bit. After his divorce from Kim Kardashian, the reality TV mogul, influencer overlord, and fellow fame addict that didn't exactly take time to heal, no long break, no quiet reflection. Nah, he bounced immediately into what the tabloids described as a secret wedding with Bianca Censori. And no, not a wedding with flowers and family and vows. We're talking some vague ceremony, no marriage license, no legal paperwork, just vibes, and maybe a contract written on Yeezy hoodie cotton. Bianca, an architect at Yeezy, because of course she was, went from behind the scenes to front page news faster than you can say Kanye's new muse. Within days she was all over. TMZ, walking beside the not saying much, barely blinking, and wearing outfits that make Met Gala attendees look conservative. We're talking sheer bodysuits, nude tights, skin tone everything, and barely their dresses that have people asking, is this fashion or is she being held hostage by a designer? Who hates fabric? Some folks even joked that Bianca wasn't his wife, she was part of the Yeezy Spring Summer 3025 collection. But let's get real. This ain't about clothes. This is about control. This is about image. This is about how Kanye turned his new relationship into a full-on marketing campaign. Think about it, Binka became the walking billboard for Yi's twisted vision of style, art, and controversy. And she didn't say a word. Literally, every time they were caught on camera, they did the talking or shouting, while Bianca stood there like a mannequin with a doctorate, silent. Present, submissive, some fans called it aesthetic. Others called it creepy as hell, and of course the internet ate it up. You couldn't scroll for 5 minutes without seeing a new paparazzi shot. Kanye in oversized shoulder pads looking like a villain from Blade Runner, and Bianca beside him, practically naked in the middle of Milan, Tokyo, LA, or wherever they decided to be bizarre that week. Was it fashion? Was it feminism? Was it fame hunger? Or was it just Kanye being Kanye, weaponizing shock value like he always does? Let's not forget the backdrop here. The was in full. Post-cancellation mode, Adidas, gone. Balenciaga, cut him off. Instagram, suspended. Public opinion, ice cold. But what's a better distraction from being labeled anti-Semitic, misogynistic, and unstable than marrying a mysterious, beautiful woman and turning her into a walking statement piece? Oh, and you thought it couldn't get messy, eh? Wait till you hear about Italy. In 2023, the couple went on a European vacation, except this wasn't your cute under the Tuscan sun trip. They were seen on a boat in Venice doing, let's just say, inappropriate things for daylight. Public acts that had even the Italians clutching their rosaries. And Italians invented public PDA. The backlash? Massive. Headlines everywhere. Moral outrage. A ban from Venetian water taxis? Yup, they got banned from gondolas. Kanye turned Bianca into the most talked-about silent celebrity since Teller from Penn and Teller. Except this time, the silence wasn't a performance trick, it felt like a red flag. People started asking, is this empowering or is this some dystopian relationship dynamic dressed up as high fashion? And let's not gloss over the speculation. Folks online wondering if Bianca was being controlled, brainwashed, or held hostage in a couture cult. And Kanye? He never addressed it because controversy is currency to him. Every headline, every meme, every Twitter storm its fuel. And Bianca? She stayed right beside him, mute, barefoot, and usually wearing something that looked like it got caught in a 3D printer glitch. So what is this marriage, really? Is it real love, a spiritual union, a Yeezy HR violation, or just the latest chapter in Kanye's never-ending saga of shock and awe? Here's the truth. In Kanye's world, the line between art and absurdity is so blurred, nobody can tell. If it's performance or breakdown, and Bianca, she might be his greatest creation yet or his most tragic. Either way, this ain't a love story. This is a press release dressed in latex. So what do y'all think? Is Bianca Censori just along for the ride, or is she driving the weird-ass bus with Kanye? Drop your hot takes in the comments, team. Artistic expression or team, please blink twice if you need help. Hit that like button if you've ever seen a celebrity relationship so wild it made your phone overheat. And subscribe, cause in the next topic we're diving into the Donda effect, how Kanye turned grief into gospel and then into chaos. Kanye versus the Jews, anti-Semitism, or mental spiral? Did you go too far, or was it all a meltdown in real time? Alright, buckle up because we're diving deep into the dark, twisted, and downright baffling moment when Kanye West's public meltdown took a terrifying turn down the anti-Semitism rabbit hole. Yeah, that part of Ye's story nobody wanted, but we all had to watch like a train wreck nobody could look away from. So, how did we get from a dude making iconic beats and Jesus Walks anthems to him dropping bombshells that had everyone scrambling for the cancel this man immediately button? Simple, mental health spirals, unchecked provocations, and a toxic cocktail of fame, power, and paranoia. First off, let's not sugarcoat it. Ye's anti-Semitic remarks weren't just bad PR or misunderstood art. They were blatant, offensive, and harmful. Tweets and interviews filled with conspiracy theories about Jewish people controlling industries, media, and basically running the world. Yeah, that's not just edgy, that's playing with fire in a way that damages real lives. And guess what? The backlash was immediate and fierce, not because the internet loves cancel culture, which it does, but because hate speech isn't just a controversial opinion, it's a damn problem. But here's where it gets complicated. Was this the maniacal villain everyone wanted to hate, or a brilliant but deeply troubled genius unraveling in real time? Mental. Health experts jumped in, pointing out signs of bipolar disorder, paranoia, and psychotic breaks, things that has spoken about publicly before. It's like watching a public figure crumble on live TV, except this time the consequences weren't just personal. They rippled out into societal tensions and real-world impacts. Kanye's meltdown wasn't just some phase, it was a full-on breakdown broadcast on social media, making everyone feel like involuntary witnesses to his unfiltered chaos. There's a fine line between free speech and hate speech, and they didn't just cross it. He bulldozed right over it. That cost him deals, fans, friends, and a major chunk of his legacy. But what made it worse was how some of his most loyal followers tried to excuse or minimize his behavior. It's mental health, they'd say, or he's just misunderstood. Sure, mental illness explains some things, but it doesn't give you a free pass to spew hate. Responsibility still matters, and when your words fuel dangerous stereotypes and hatred, it's on you. And don't even get me started on how this meltdown disrupted conversations about mental health itself. The serious issue got tangled up with public outrage, leaving people confused. Should we support Ye's struggle or condemn his harmful rhetoric? The answer is both. Compassion for his health, zero tolerance for hate, the damage, massive. His partnerships with Adidas and others evaporated overnight, his reputation tarnished beyond repair in many circles. And the cultural impact? A reminder that celebrity meltdowns can have consequences far beyond the tabloids. So yeah, Kanye West's anti-Semitism phase wasn't just a footnote in his chaotic saga. It was a defining, tragic chapter that showed how genius can spiral into destructive madness when fame, mental health, and unchecked ego collide. And while some might still defend him or hope for a comeback, the fact remains, this chapter left scars nobody can just forget. And hey, if you're still watching, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your take on this mess, and subscribe for the next episode where we'll keep unpacking this wild ride. Trust me, it only gets crazier from here. The mega hat and the Trump bromance. When your political phase ends, your music phase, all right. So picture this. Kanye West, the same guy who once rapped about God walking with him, now proudly rocking a bright red MAGA hat, the Make America Great Again cap that's basically a political landmine wrapped in cotton. What could possibly go wrong, right? Here's the thing he's flirtation with. Trump-era politics wasn't just a phase or a bad look. It was a full-on identity crisis on public display, and spoiler alert, it ended his credibility as a musician faster than you can say, "That ain't it, chief." Remember when Kanye showed up at the White House, hands waving, talking about how he loved the president? The media couldn't believe their eyes, neither could his fans. This was the moment when some people started asking the question, wait, is Kanye serious or is this some bizarre performance art? Turns out it was seriously confusing, that is. The MAGA hat symbolized more than just support for Trump. It represented a stark departure from the cultural narrative Kanye had built for years. From being the voice of the marginalized to suddenly embracing one of the most divisive figures in modern American politics, it felt like watching a plot twist no one asked for. And let's talk about the Trump bromance. Kanye's public praise of Trump, including that infamous statement about dragon energy and making history, became meme fodder and cultural controversy wrapped into one. It didn't help that the also flirted with some pretty wild statements, praising Trump's genius while dropping cryptic lines that left everyone scratching their heads. For many, this political phase wasn't just a detour. It was a derailment. Music fans started distancing themselves, questioning if Kanye had lost touch with the very community that made him a star. Industry insiders? They saw red flags, and they weren't about to gamble on a guy who could so publicly alienate half the population. The MAGA hat came to symbolize a huge rift between thee and many of his longtime supporters, between artist and audience, between past glory and future uncertainty. Oh, and don't forget how this political pivot affected his music. The albums and singles released during this period didn't exactly top charts or get rave reviews. Critics called it tone-deaf and disconnected, and casual listeners were left wondering if Kanye's focus had shifted away from the art and toward political spectacle. It was like watching a slow-motion crash, a wildly talented artist trading his mic for a megaphone, but the message? Confusing, divisive, and way offbeat from what people loved about him. In short, Ye's MAGA hat moment was less making America great again and more making my career complicated again. It split his fan base, muddied his legacy, and left Everyone wondering if the guy who once defined an era of hip-hop had lost his way in a political fog. So what's the takeaway? When your political phase overshadows your music phase, it's not just your reputation on the line, it's your entire brand, your future, and your place in cultural history. If you're digging this deep dive into Yee's chaos, smash that like button, leave your hot take below, and subscribe, because this saga ain't over yet, and trust me, the next chapters get even wilder. Running for president, genius or delusion, 2020 vision that everyone wanted to unsee, all right. Strap in, because we're about to revisit one of the most eyebrow-raising chapters in Kanye West's wild saga, his 2020 presidential run. Yep, you heard that right. The rapper dash turned dash fashion dash mogul dash turned dash dot, well, self-declared political candidate. Genius? Delusional? Or just straight-up chaotic? It all started in July 2020. When Kanye dropped the bombshell announcement that he was running for president. No tweet, no cryptic teaser, just straight up, I'm running. Naturally, the internet exploded. Some thought it was a stunt. Others were genuinely worried. But one thing was clear, this wasn't your typical campaign. Kanye's run was a bizarre cocktail of celebrity ego, political naivety, and some deeply personal, sometimes incoherent messaging. From announcing his candidacy late and missing deadlines in several states, to rallies that felt more like emotional therapy sessions. The campaign was as chaotic as it was unconventional. Remember the South Carolina rally where they rambled about everything from Harriet Tubman to abortion in a way that left everyone confused and concerned? Yeah, that happened. And the viral moment where he broke down talking about his family? That wasn't scripted, it was raw, messy, and painfully real. Was it genius? Well, if you think genius means understanding the political process and rallying voters, then probably not. But if you think genius means grabbing headlines and staying in the public eye by any means necessary, then the 2020 Vision campaign was, for many, less about policy and more about spectacle, a reflection of Kanye's brand of chaos that blurs the lines between performance art and political ambition. It was a campaign that nobody really wanted to see unfold, but couldn't stop watching. Critics pounced, supporters were divided, and the political establishment, they mostly laughed it off. Meanwhile, Yee's own family and friends reportedly tried to intervene, worried the whole thing was spiraling out of control. Ultimately, Kanye's run was a flash in the pan. He only appeared on ballots in a handful of states, and the votes he got were minimal. But the impact? Huge. It added yet another layer to the public's perception of Yee as a man struggling to separate genius from madness. Was Kanye West really ready to run a country? Probably not. Did he want to be taken seriously as a candidate? Hard to say. But what's undeniable is that the 2020 run was a chaotic, surreal chapter that cemented his status as a cultural enigma. So what do you think? Was this the bravest political move by a celebrity, or the most public meltdown disguised as ambition? Drop your thoughts in the comment. Hit that like button if you're still along for this wild ride, and subscribe to keep up with all the Kanye chaos coming your way. Donda was a cry for help, the album that felt more like therapy on vinyl, alright. If you thought Kanye's 2020 presidential run was wild, wait till we dive into Donda, the album that basically sounded like the shouting for help ... but with beats. Named after his late mother, Donda West, this project was supposed to be Kanye's magnum opus, a spiritual, emotional comeback after years of public chaos. But what it ended up being? A raw, messy, sometimes confusing outpouring that felt less like music and more like a therapy session nobody asked to sit through. First off, the album rollout was a spectacle in itself. Multiple listening parties, stadium events, album delays, mysterious teasers. It was Kanye doing Kanye, turning the album release into a theatrical event. But underneath the spectacle, the music told a different story. Donda is filled with themes of grief, faith, mental health struggles, family drama, and yes, a ton of self-reflection. The lyrics bounce between worship and paranoia, hope and despair. You get tracks praising God one minute, then spiraling into rants about haters and enemies the next. Many fans and critics alike noticed that Donda sounded like Kanye was trying to make sense of his own fractured mind and life. The album wasn't polished. It was jagged, full of rough edges, incomplete ideas, and moments of genius, stuck in chaos. Some tracks felt like prayers, others like confessions, and a few like outright cries for help. There's no doubt that the was using music as a coping mechanism, wrestling with demons that the public barely understood. But here's the catch. While the album showed vulnerability, it also confused listeners. Was this a spiritual rebirth? A mental health breakdown disguised as art? The answer is probably both. And then there's the guest list. Some of the biggest names appeared, adding layers of sound and meaning, but sometimes it felt like a cacophony rather than a chorus, as if everyone was trying to help the find himself, but instead got lost in the noise. Critically, Donda polarized opinions. Some praised its emotional depth and ambition, calling it Kanye's most honest work. Others saw it as evidence of his unraveling, an album that tried to do too much and ended up doing too little. Commercially, it did well. Kanye's name still sells records, but the real takeaway was how Donda gave us a glimpse into Ye's soul during one of his darkest chapters. It was art born out of pain, confusion, and a desperate need to be heard. So, when you listen to Donda, don't just hear the beats and rhymes. Listen closely, and you might catch the sound of a man wrestling with his past, his faith, and his future, all while the whole world watches. If you're vibing with this breakdown of Kanye's chaotic masterpiece, smash that like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more. Deep dives into the roller coaster life of the Kim Kardashian, the divorce heard round the world, custody wars, cryptic captions, and skeet. All right, buckle up. Because if there's one saga that captivated the world beyond Kanye's music and politics, it's the epic drama of the versus Kim Kardashian. The power couple turned headline magnet with a breakup that felt like a full-blown season of a reality show nobody wanted to miss. For years, Kanye and Kim were the ultimate celebrity duo, a rap superstar and a reality queen, combining billions in fame, fortune, and public attention. But behind the glitz, turmoil was brewing. Their split didn't just shake Hollywood, it sent shockwaves through pop culture. The custody battles, the public jabs, the cryptic Instagram posts, everything was out in the open, messy, and unfiltered. You remember those cryptic captions Kanye posted? The ones that had fans and haters alike scrambling to decode whether they were threats, apologies, or rants. Yeah, those. Some called it emotional warfare, others called it just straight-up chaos. Then there's the infamous Skeet nickname. That didn't just call Kim by a new nickname, he weaponized it. Every time the world saw Skeet trending, it was like a reminder that the couple's drama was not only personal but part of Kanye's public performance art. And custody battles, they were about as friendly as a W-Nesh. Public statements from both sides, legal disputes, and the underlying struggle to maintain some normalcy for their kids while the media feasted on every detail. This isn't just celebrity gossip, it's a modern tragedy played out on social media, where every move, every word, every silence is dissected and amplified. For Kanye, this chapter wasn't just about personal heartbreak. It was a public unraveling that peeled back the layers of his complex personality, vulnerability, anger, and all. And for Kim, it was a high-stakes balancing act, trying to protect her family's privacy while navigating the relentless spotlight and Ye's unpredictable behavior. The saga made it clear, fame doesn't protect you from pain. It just puts your pain on display for millions to watch. So what does this mean for Ye's legacy? It's complicated. His music, his politics, and now his personal life all bleed into each other, creating a tangled web that's as fascinating as it is tragic. If you're still following this roller coaster, hit that like, drop your hot take in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives into the chaotic world of Kanye West. The White Lives Matter t-shirt. What was he thinking, or was that the whole point? Alright, let's talk about the moment. Kanye West sent the internet into full meltdown mode. That infamous appearance wearing the White Lives Matter t-shirt. If you thought Ye's career couldn't get any more controversial, well, welcome to the next level of eyebrow raising. This was more than just a fashion statement. It was a provocation wrapped in a cotton tee, a stunt that left fans, critics, and casual observers wondering if Kanye was losing it or masterminding a bigger game. First off, the phrase "White Lives Matter" carries heavy political and social baggage. It's widely recognized as a reactionary slogan to the Black Lives Matter movement, which fights against systemic racism and police brutality. So, Kanye rocking that message was like lighting a cultural fuse. The reactions were swift and fierce. Outrage exploded online, media outlets dissected his motives, and some longtime fans felt utterly betrayed. How could a man who built his career as a voice for black empowerment suddenly don such a divisive symbol? But with Kanye, it's never just what you see on the surface. Was he trying to troll the culture? Was this a sign of his unraveling mental state? Or maybe, just maybe, a cynical way to stay in the headlines? There's no doubt the move alienated many. Fashion brands, collaborators, and even family members reportedly expressed concern. This wasn't just another headline. It was a cultural earthquake. Yet, true to Ye's unpredictable style, he doubled down, ignoring backlash and refusing to clarify his stance. That silence only fueled the fire, turning the t-shirt into a symbol of his defiance. Whether you call it genius trolling or reckless provocation, the White Lives Matter t-shirt became a defining moment in Kanye's post-celebrity persona, a man who seems to court controversy like it's his day job. The bigger question is, did Kanye West understand the consequences? Or was this the whole point, to disrupt, to shock, and to make us question everything we thought we knew about him? Whatever the answer, this chapter showed us that Ye's relationship with public opinion is complicated, messy, and unapologetically chaotic. So what do you think? Was this Kanye's biggest misstep or his most brilliant provocation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you're still here for the madness, and subscribe for more deep dives into the chaotic genius that is Kanye West. From fashion god to industry outcast, Balenciaga, Adidas, Gap. Then poof, no one left. Let's talk fashion, baby. Kanye West didn't just make waves in music, he crashed the high fashion. Party like a rock star who forgot the dress code but still stole the show. Remember the Yeezy sneaker launches? The sold-out Adidas collabs? The hyped-up Gap deal? It was like the Midas of streetwear, turning everything he touched into gold. But fast forward to today, and it's less golden touch, more touch-and-go disaster. What happened to the guy who was supposed to redefine fashion forever? Well, let's rewind. Kanye's fashion journey was nothing short of legendary at its peak. From the minimalistic Yeezy line to the futuristic Balenciaga runway appearances, was the fashion world's golden child. Industry insiders couldn't get enough, and fans lined up for hours just to cop a pair of those coveted sneakers. Then the big corporate deals started rolling and Adidas signed him for billions. Gap put him in charge of a massive collection, and the hype was off the charts. It seemed like was unstoppable, the perfect blend of celebrity and creative genius. But here's the kicker: fame and fashion don't mix well with controversy, and Kanye's public behavior started rubbing the fashion industry the wrong way. The tweets, the outbursts, the political stunts. Brands began to question if they wanted to be associated with such unpredictability. Adidas quietly ended their partnership, citing irreconcilable differences. Gap put a pause on their Yeezy line. Even Balenciaga distanced itself. The man who once held the keys to the fashion kingdom suddenly found himself locked out. Industry insiders whispered about damaged reputations, lost deals, and a once bright future fading into a cautionary tale. What was supposed to be Kanye's empire crumbled beneath the weight of his own provocations. So where does that leave a fashion outcast for now? Still talented, still influential, but with a tarnished brand that's hard to revive. This chapter of Kanye's life is a harsh reminder. No matter how high you fly, the fall can be just as spectacular. If you're still tracking Kanye's highs and lows, smash that like button, share your take in the comments, and subscribe for more no-holds-barred breakdowns of the roller coaster life of Kanye West. The Church of Kanye, Sunday service or Sunday circus? All right, time to talk about something that's equal parts spiritual revival and full-on spectacle. Kanye West's infamous Sunday service. If you thought Ye's career was already a wild ride, this religious chapter takes the cake, or maybe the collection plate. The Sunday service started as this seemingly sincere, gospel-infused, choir-filled experience where Kanye mixed his faith, music, and vision. Fans showed up expecting a church revival, a moment of spiritual clarity, and maybe a new track or two. It was a fresh take, a break from the usual chaos, right? Well, not exactly. As the events grew bigger and more extravagant, the line between genuine worship and celebrity circus blurred fast. Imagine a gospel choir performing in fields, stadiums, and high-profile venues, with Kanye himself acting as both preacher and headliner. The whole thing felt like a rock concert wrapped in a pulpit. Critics questioned whether this was a true spiritual movement or just another Kanye stunt to stay in the headlines. Was the trying to reinvent religion, or was this just another platform for his ego? And then there's the merch. Sunday service became not only an event but a brand with exclusive apparel, tickets, and VIP experiences. Suddenly, spirituality had a price tag, and some wondered if faith was being commodified. The Church of Kanye wasn't just about worship. It was about spectacle, celebrity, and the messy intersection of faith and fame. Plus, the media circus didn't help. Paparazzi, headlines, and public scrutiny turned each Sunday service into a high-drama event. It was hard to tell if you were witnessing a genuine spiritual awakening or a reality show episode. For Kanye, this chapter highlighted his complex relationship with faith, a mix of redemption, showmanship, and controversy. And for the audience, a constant question: is this Sunday service salvation or just another Kanye chaos moment? So what's your take? Is the Church of Kanye a groundbreaking new spiritual movement or a Sunday circus with too much flair? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if you want more deep dives, and subscribe for the wildest ride through Kanye's world. Is Kanye West even Kanye West anymore? Fans ask, and what did y'all do with him? So here we are, at a crossroads. The question on everyone's lips: is Kanye West even Kanye West anymore? The man who once revolutionized hip-hop, fashion, and pop culture now seems like a shadow of his former self. But how did we get here? And more importantly, where did it go? Fans remember the early Kanye, the brash, innovative, sometimes arrogant genius who dropped the college dropout and changed the game forever. He was bold, fearless, and unapologetically himself. But somewhere along the way, things started to unravel. Social media, public meltdowns, controversial statements. The new Kanye is a different beast. The man who once rapped about Jesus now wears MAGA hats. The visionary producer turned political provocateur. The artist who once set trends now seems trapped in his own chaos. People ask, where's the Kanye who made 808s and Heartbreak? The Kanye who changed the sound of modern music? Did he disappear behind the headlines, the scandals, and the outbursts? Some say it's mental health, the real, raw struggles of a creative mind battling demons in public. Others say it's fame gone too far, a celebrity losing touch with reality. And some, they think is playing a part, performing for the cameras, pushing boundaries to stay relevant. But no matter the explanation, the confusion remains. Fans feel like they're watching a friend lose himself, a cultural icon slipping through the cracks. So what's left? A complicated legacy wrapped in contradictions. A man who changed the world but now seems lost in. If you're still riding this roller coaster, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real talk about the enigma that is Kanye West. Canceled but not forgotten, is the most canceled, uncancelable man alive. Kanye West, a man who's been canceled more times than most celebrities have changed hairstyles. Yet somehow, he's still here, loud, controversial, and impossible to ignore. How does one go from being canceled to basically uncancelable? Let's break it down. First, the cancellations, Twitter riots, brand deals lost, public backlash, canceled concerts, social media bans, the usual celebrity fallout, multiplied by Kanye's over-the-top antics. The man's been dropped by Adidas, criticized by peers, and shunned by many fans. But here's the twist. Despite all that, he keeps bouncing back. Like some kind of cultural cockroach, he survives every apocalypse the internet throws at him. Every scandal just adds fuel to his wildfire of notoriety. Why? Because Kanye is not just a celebrity, he's a lightning rod. People can't stop watching, tweeting, talking about him. It's like the world's most dramatic reality show, and he's the unpredictable star. Some argue cancel culture simply doesn't work on someone who controls his own narrative so fiercely. Others think his talent and influence make him too valuable to ignore. Or maybe, just maybe, that has turned controversy into a twisted art form. Every public meltdown, every controversial statement, every shocking stunt keeps him relevant whether we like it or not. But here's the catch. Being uncancelable doesn't mean consequences don't exist. Lost deals, broken relationships, and a reputation that's more mess than myth show the price of constant provocation. So is Kanye West the most canceled, uncancelable man alive? Probably, and the world's Still watching whether it wants to or not? If you're hooked on this wild ride, smash that like button, tell me your take below. And subscribe for more deep dives into the chaos that is Kanye West, the price of provocation, genius, or just chaos. When being the most talked about isn't always a win. Alright, we've seen the highs and the lows, the genius and the madness. Kanye West is undeniably one of the most talked about figures in modern culture, but at what cost? Being the center of attention isn't always a crown to wear. Sometimes it's a cross to bear. Ye's career is littered with moments where his provocations grabbed headlines, stirred controversies, and made the world stop and stare. But did that attention translate into success, respect, or happiness? Let's face it, Kanye's provocation game is on another level. From interrupting award shows to dropping cryptic tweets, from controversial political endorsements to public meltdowns, Ye's life feels like one long headline. And while some call it performance art, others see it as self-destruction. Provocation can be a tool for genius, challenging norms, shaking up industries, sparking conversation. But it can also backfire, alienate allies, and damage legacies. For Kanye, the line between genius and chaos has blurred, leaving fans and critics wondering, is he a misunderstood visionary or just a man spiraling out of control? And then there's the toll on those around him, family, friends, collaborators, caught in the fallout of his relentless provocations. The price of being the loudest voice in the room isn't just personal. It's collective, so is Kanye West paying the price of provocation? Absolutely. But whether it's genius or just chaos depends on who you ask. One thing's for sure, Ye's story is far from over, and the world will keep watching, debating, and wondering what he'll do next. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more raw, honest takes on the roller coaster life of Kanye West.